You're good.
All right, cool.
We're live.
It doesn't say we're live.
Yeah,
it is though.
It does say we're live. Hey, we're live. Welcome to the Maple Minds podcast. Welcome to the very first show of 2026. We'd like to start by wishing everybody a happy new year and welcome to our new time slot. We thought that by doing the show at a later time, we could try to build our audience a little bit more, build the show a bit bigger than what we were doing before when we were doing at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when a lot of people are at work. This way we get people who are hopefully off work and it's up to only 8 p.m. Eastern time. Even though we talk about BC politics, we talk about a lot of stuff that is Canada wide and international. So we're hoping to hashtag grow the show. So make sure if you aren't already following us on our TikTok page and subscribed on YouTube. Our first goal this year is to get to 500 subscribers on YouTube. We're a little over 400. So help us grow the show, spread the word, share it to anybody you think will give us a follow. And if you aren't following, like I said, give us a follow. My name's Christy. That's Rob and Polly. We're just three people from British Columbia who like to exchange opinions about politics in British Columbia and Canada and internationally. So we're going to start this year. We're going to start this show in Canada, talking about our Prime Minister Carney and some of the criticism that he's facing for his aid towards Ukraine. It was announced today that he will be participating in the peace discussions, the peace negotiations that are going to be happening in France with countries of the willing on January 5th and 6th. Now, the criticism that he's facing, I haven't heard anybody opining about how they feel about him going to France. I'm sure there's criticism there somewhere too, but criticism that I wanted to start with was in the money that is being spent. He announced another like $2 billion. So I believe our total aid to them is in the $25 billion range. Rob, what do you think?
It's funny because I looked into this the last time we decided to, do the aid thing for Ukraine, and I think we're in a tough spot because I think there's a lot of Canadians that are focused on their lives and the betterment of their lives, and things are very expensive, here and there, and I think a lot of people are a little upset over it. But there's also misinformation because when you actually look at what the aid is, the aid comes in lots of different forms. A lot of them are actually loans. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there are loans, there's aid in military. So if we're sending military aid over there, especially if we're sending people for help or any of that stuff, we're paying them. So, I mean, if anything, it's helping our economy. I mean, we're supplying certain things that's going to help us, in the long run. It's not a blank check. We're not just signing, here's 2.5 million, Zelensky, do whatever you want with it, build a palace, it's not like that. So, I mean, I'm okay with the fact that we're doing certain things to help, and I think a lot of people need to. There needs to be a lot more of an effort out there to help and end this war. But at the same time, I can definitely see why a lot of Canadians are like, 2.5 billion, you're sending 2.5 billion more over to there, and we don't have, we've got people that don't have food, and and I mean, obviously it makes sense that people are upset, but when you really look at it, it's not what people think. We're not writing a blank check for them to do whatever they want. So I'm okay with it.
So
I mean, that's like.
I got some numbers from an unlikely source. I got my numbers from Jason Kenney, the guy who used to be the Premier of Alberta, because he was on X and somebody had written about how much it was per Canadian household, how much this aid to Ukraine was. And a lot of people focus on the biggest number, 25 billion, and that's a big number. And like you said, there's people who just look at their own lives and they look at their own situation, and if they weren't paying income tax in a certain area, if it wasn't going to that, if they felt if it was going to something that aided them more directly, um I understand where it's coming from as well. That's why I think there needs to be a lot of really good communication as to where it's going. Like you talked about, it's not just a big blank check. And the numbers that I got from Mr. Kenny were, you talked about how some of it was in loans. 12 billion of that is in loans, so that's almost half. Another 6.5 billion is in military, so that's a little bit of that is in equipment and munitions that are end of life, like they would be discarded anyways. There's no new cost to the taxpayer, but it has a dollar value of what's going over, but it's not a new cost to us. There's also training programs that we would be paying for them anyways. So if you take that out, there's an extra, what are you left with? 6.5 billion. And when you factor it out over 4 years, divided by how many households, according to Mr. Jason Kenny, it works out to about $100 per household per year over 4 years, which I believe you can make the argument, everybody can make the argument of a better way to spend that $100. Fair enough. I get that. But if you look at if you don't spend the $100, I think if you don't, it would be nice to not have to spend this. It would be nice if Ukraine didn't have to defend themselves against, like, it's not their choice to be in this war, right? It would be nice if we didn't have to do this, but we do, because the alternative is if you don't help Ukraine and Russia pushes through Ukraine and starts, not going to stop. I think we should all be able to agree that this guy isn't going to stop. And he says he's going to stop. He says a lot of things. We'll get into that in a second, but he isn't going to stop. And when he starts to go after the Baltics, NATO is going to trigger us to have to go and fight, and that is going to cost us a lot more, not just in money in order to fight this war, but in lives, in Canadian lives. So I think the money that we're spending now, I think we should do anything we can to stop Russia from what they're doing to Ukraine. And I agree with the money that we have to spend to do it. I do.
I think it's interesting. I think something that I never looked into or anything, but I was just sort of thinking it because we used to have to do budgets, right, back in the day, and I'm thinking there must be a certain amount of money that's put into the Canadian budget, like into the budget, so it's already in there. So
yeah,
wherever it goes is wherever it goes. It should be part of the budget. So it's not like we're trying to find some new money for this. It's there. There's a stipulation for it somewhere that's been accounted for already, and that's just where we're allocating the funds is into Ukraine versus sending it elsewhere. So, and I could be wrong. Who knows? Someone can correct me if they want to.
I believe you're right. And again, if we're wrong, let us know. We're just normal schmoes talking about politics.
I wasn't looking it up. But in my mind, right? Obviously, if we have budgets, like we used to have to develop budgets and things, that you would have budgeted for aid, or something, whatever it would be under. So, but yeah, no, I agree. I just think it's a tough time, though. I think a lot of Canadians, and I think that's part of the problem is when you have the opposition spreading misinformation and lies and really trying to drag it through the mud, it's not a good look, and it's hard to, really defend it, and unless you can actually sit there and go, hey, it's in the budget already. It's our money already spent, and this is what it consists of. And some of it is just it's loans, and it's what was the other one where loan forgiveness or like past monies owed being deferred for a later time and things like that. So there's a lot more to it. I mean, and I think everyone just needs to know we're not just giving someone money and hoping that they're going to do the best with it.
But again, I think that it is important to spend it, because if you don't, like what the people who are against this, the people who are saying nope, absolutely we shouldn't be sending them a single Canadian dime, what do they think happens if we don't? I think it's very important, especially at this time when we're trying to diversify trade away from the United States, when we're at this sort of political fracture in the world that we hadn't seen before, and everybody's kind of finding their own way. I think it's very important that Canada really stands up for stopping Russia from getting through Ukraine, because again, if he gets through, then it's going to cost us more. We're going to be at war if he gets through, and I think anybody is very naive to think otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, learning from say World War II, where obviously, even the U.S.'s isolationism practices, where they didn't enter the war early on, as Hitler kept pushing and going further and further, taking over more land, and it took a while to sort of get into that. I think in today's day and age, I don't know what the reality of that is for him pushing further past Ukraine. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you on that. I think maybe there may be other opportunities for him as well, but I don't think he's invading France anytime soon. But I think at the end of the day,
I don't think it would be a France. I think it would be more in the Baltics. I think that the goal is to rebuild the Soviet Union.
Yeah, perhaps. And I think also the money. Yeah, but I mean here, yeah, I think it's a tough thing to say, and I mean it's it's fairly early on, and I think the fact that he's having trouble even just in Ukraine, I don't know, like I just don't.
Okay, so here's another thing. Here's another thing for your consideration, Mister. I don't really agree with you. The guy's a liar, right? So very recently, and he has said, no, I just want my little parts, Ukraine, and I don't want all this other stuff that everybody's accusing me of. He also said very recently that Ukraine had attacked his residence. Did you see this? And Trump's like, well, he told me. And some of his people are like, sir, we don't believe that this is true. Ukraine is saying that it wasn't them. We're looking into it. But he's like, yeah, but Putin told me it was him. Does nobody stop? And by nobody, I mean Trump. Like, does he not stop and think like, hey, how come this guy's lying to me?
Yeah,
like, we can all see it, but like, I think it's fascinating.
Here's the funny part is, I think we're still waiting on Trump to sort of exit in 3 years. And I mean, Putin's got only 3 years before a new president's put in place that's going to probably have more of a hard line against Russia. I mean, because unless they elect another president that's got that,
like the JD guy,
Russia, like Russia's got dirt on, and they can kind of do whatever they want. I just don't. I think Russia's struggling too much, and they're not what they used to be, and I don't think they're as big of a threat as what we used to think they were. So
I hope you're right. Total side note, but have you seen the Dave Chappelle special on Netflix? Yes, the latest one?
100%. I watched it the second it came out, and I absolutely loved it. I loved every second of it. Like it was a masterpiece. Like it was a masterpiece. And there are sentiments in there that maybe I'm not going to go into in the show, but especially at the very end, that I 100% agree with him on, and I love it. I love that he came out and said it. Go Dave Chappelle. 100%. I loved every minute of it. Every minute.
I really liked it too.
And the storytelling. Storytelling.
He's have you ever seen him live?
I've never seen him live. No.
It's expensive, honestly. I skipped this last time, but I have seen him live before, and I think he's very, very extraordinarily talented. I really do. That man makes me laugh. But the reason I bring him up is that you said, hopefully this Trump is out in 3 years. And in the show, not to spoil it for anybody, but in Dave's show, he said, we wait out this orange motherfucker. Or pardon me, I swore again. And actually, I don't even think he said that. He said something else. But anyways, in his opinion, this is wait outable. I know that there's a lot of people who disagree with that. I think it's very possible that it's wait outable.
There's going to be a lot of damage, though. There's going to be a lot of
There is
damage.
going to be a lot of damage.
I mean, we already see that.
I think it's very important for everybody to be talking about what's really actually happening there, because I think that complacency or political apathy, I think you need as many people voting as you can, especially I think November is going to be very interesting when they have their midterms.
That's the most important thing right now.
Yeah.
You got to have checks and balances. He has zero checks and balances. Like he has nobody telling him he can't do what he's doing. And everybody's going, let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it. The emperor's new clothes. I mean, the dude's walking around naked. Everyone's like, oh, that outfit's fantastic. It looks great on you. No, like, come on, people. Wake up a little bit. But the checks and balances are coming. Yeah, the checks and balances are coming. 100% they're coming. And they have to be there. And once they're there, he knows you can't really do very much at that point, because there will be those checks and balances. So, I mean, I hope so too. I actually, the Dave Chappelle special, I've never actually ended up watching credits before. Like, at the end of the show, I watched every second of it for all the different pictures and all the different, like, I was like, oh yeah, and honestly, it was so good.
I'm a fan of his since I can't even remember how long I've been watching him. 90s.
Yeah. He's also he's had so much controversy, and the funny thing about the controversy is it's not real. Like, it's not like he, like, I don't know. I think it's funny. I just think I think he's great. And that special for me was one of, like, it was a night for me to go, wow. Like, it was a masterpiece. Like, I thought it was one of his best shows, and the way he did it and the way he told the stories was, for me, phenomenal. I loved it.
I do understand why other people wouldn't. I do. Yeah. I don't believe in canceling. I don't believe in the cancel culture thing. I don't believe in canceling somebody for the kind of jokes that he does. I appreciate that it's not for everybody. And I think if certain art isn't for everybody, then if I thought what he was doing was encouraging bigotry, then I wouldn't support. But I don't think that's it. I think that this is comedy. And I think that people who, if it's not for them, then skip that kind of show. I think that's kind of like me going to a country music concert. I don't like country music. Why would I? You know what I mean?
It'd be like
I liked it.
Us not going. It'd be like us not going to a Charlie Kirk event. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, I'm not going to say that's the same thing, because I don't think it is. But for the most part, actually, do you know what's really funny? And we're going on another segue here, but I got to ask you this, because we're talking about cancel culture, and something popped up on my feed, and it made me go, yeah, Don Cherry. So Don Cherry got canceled. What are your thoughts on that now, in retrospect, thinking back on it? Or what were your thoughts on it at the time? And do you have any
No, I think it's different. I think it's different. I think if it's just Don Cherry doing like his own Don Cherry show, his own Don Cherry special, I think Don Cherry can say anything that he wants to. I think when he is representing a station talking about sports, he has to speak in a way that's more sensitive than the way that he spoke, because he's not speaking just as Don Cherry. He's speaking as Don Cherry, representing the station that he was working for. I think it's different. Like I said, if it's your own special, that's your own thing. And then but there's people who tune into him for sports that I think it's a different thing. I do.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think that I think that he should have changed his tune for when he's on the show. If he says that kind of stuff, yeah, no, I think that when you're a representative of the show, I think there's probably some in your contract, you're representing that, you're part of the brand. And I think that if it's just his brand, it's totally up to him. But I think that when you are representing a different brand, I don't think it's up to you. Not, I think when you're getting paid by the brand, then it's not up to you. That's what I think.
Yeah. I look at it a little differently nowadays when I think back on it, and I think, he was always a little bit outrageous the whole time, and I don't know. I don't totally agree with it now, especially looking back on it. I'm like, yeah, but I totally get your point, and let's move on.
I get yours too, because I think the pendulum might be swinging a little bit, but let's come back to Canada and talk about the trade agreement. So another criticism that Prime Minister Carney is receiving is from the people who like to use this just as wedge issues, right? Like the money to Ukraine. I think these people recognize, as we do, that it needs to be spent so that we can hopefully avoid a war. I think that for them, it works politically as opposition to get people riled up about stuff that they want to make sure that they disagree with the government in power on. And so another thing that's happening is, well, this guy promised us, which Pierre's full of, I'm not going to swear again. Pierre has misrepresented Mr. Carney's statements regarding his promises that he made. He said, well, he promised to have a deal with Trump by July or whatever. He never said that.
No, he didn't. He never said that.
He said that he would deal with Trump. He didn't say that he would sign a deal with Trump. That's two different things, man. Dealing with Trump could be, building up our trade portfolio and diversifying a lot to strengthen our position to go back and to talk to this guy, instead of just talking to him right away and saying, hey, daddy, what do you want? Which is what Pierre would have done, in my opinion. Rob, what do you think?
No, it's 100%. I mean, we are looking at Mark Carney playing chess, and Donald Trump is still stuck trying to figure out checkers, and that's really what it comes down to. Mark Carney is doing exactly what we should be doing. We're diversifying. We're going out there trying to find other trade agreements with people that are willing to have equal trade with us, that are willing to sort of look at it from both sides, where both sides can benefit. Donald Trump only wants what's best for him. Not even necessarily for the US. It's just what's best for him and what he wants. And part of that is just to save face. And at the end of the day, what Mark Carney's doing is he's stacking his deck. He's stacking his cards so that when he goes back there, for the trade deal, Donald Trump's going to have to, come down and start actually playing real ball. Like, he can't just be like, nope, this is all I'm giving you. He's gonna have to realize there's some major consequences that are gonna happen.
Seriously.
And, like serious consequences.
Who
would make a
deal? Who would make a deal with somebody you can't trust anyways? Like, you can't trust.
I mean, Mark Carney's already come out and said, even blatantly said, that they violated Kuzma, right? So I mean, he sort of said, hey, they violated this. Like, we had an agreement. And he violated it, and he's no longer going to stand by the agreement that he signed himself. How do you even go to a trade negotiation with someone that signed an agreement with you and then later said, no, I'm not going to abide by that anymore? That's a horrible agreement. That's a one-sided agreement.
What a horrible agreement. I can't believe somebody would sign that when it was him.
Yeah.
He knows it was him. Come on.
Who would even? I give it to Mark Carney for even like playing the game and trying to pump up and playing those mind games with him. Like, it was fantastic. I mean, but we're not signing nothing. If anything, we're just going to move on without you. It's the ex-girlfriend that you're like, yeah, I know you still want me, but I've moved on. Too bad. So sad. You can watch me. You can watch
Meanwhile,
me grow and expand as a human being.
watch me glow up and go and make deals with the UAE and Indonesia, and is in trade talks now, is strengthening trades with Korea, and is has confirmed that they're going to do negotiations with Thailand and somebody else that I can't remember. But the point is that there are a lot more deals that are going on, so that when he does go back to the table with Trump, which will happen eventually, because Trump is backing off on a lot of things, like his whole thing. Like, somebody made a point online the other day about how can he and all of his Muppets keep chirping about how great tariffs are. Look how much money tariffs are. Look how great our economy is because of tariffs. We wouldn't be making this much money off of tariffs. And then be quietly changing their mind over a lot of the tariffs. They've already changed their minds on the tariffs on coffee beans and bananas and I think microchips and phone parts.
Oh, it's all in the background because they don't want to admit it. That even though they did admit it, and I believe it was Caroline Levitt that actually said something to the effect of whatever, where everyone's people are like, so what you're saying is the tariffs are affecting prices in the United States. Like,
Yeah.
come on, people. Like, how do you not like that whole narrative of the other companies and other countries pay the tariffs is mind-blowingly ridiculous to a point where I have to just shake my head and think, like, there's a new low when it comes to the education system down there. Like, there is a new low to think that people actually listen to what he's saying and believe it. I mean,
just because they keep repeating it and
well,
repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And if you'll notice, they'll never acknowledge anybody who's telling them otherwise, anybody who's trying to get them to answer a question, or they never acknowledge that they're being called out for lying. They just keep repeating the lie and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And that's part of how propaganda works, the repetition, right? Because there's a lot of people too that are, especially in this economy, when they're stressed about other things, they're only half listening, and they just keep hearing. They're not thinking about it. They're just hearing something on repeat. It's planted in there, man. They have planted a seed, and they just keep watering and watering and watering and watering. And they keep telling people, the tariffs are good for you. So pretty soon, and I'm not sure when it is, but I know that it's soon, the Supreme Court in the United States will be ruling on the legality of the tariffs. Again, he had said that there's an emergency because of all of the drugs coming from Canada, even though it's less than 1%. I can't see them ruling them legal. I can't see it.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing is, for people that don't understand tariffs, look at it this way. So North America, even Canada, has high tariffs on Chinese EVs, electric vehicles. So
100%, I believe.
Yeah, like it's massive to a point where we're never going to buy an EV from China because it's just not going to be worth it. And the reason for that is so that we are spending our money within North America. So the US is obviously buying US made electric vehicles. Canada is obviously buying Canadian electric vehicles anyway, North America. If we took that tariff down, that would be the end of Elon Musk and Tesla. Because have you seen the prices of the EV vehicles in China, and have you seen their technology and those vehicles?
Yeah.
If you could buy those vehicles without a tariff, they are so much cheaper and so much better than any Tesla out there. And Tesla, no one would buy them ever again. Tesla would be out of business.
Their number, I think Aaron Parnas just reported today.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked into, I'm going to say too, I haven't double checked this. So I'm just going to say at this point, this is what Parnas reported. But he had reported that the number one EV company in China has overtaken Tesla as the number one EV producer in the world.
Yeah, BYD. Yeah,
Yep.
I think Tesla's down for a second year in a row. I think they were down 9% again, like a massive percentage. And you think about it, BYD, they're not even getting the North American market. They're not even getting our market.
Yeah.
They can't even get in here. And they've overtaken Tesla. You know,
Okay,
like
so
I mean, but so my whole point is there's times where tariff makes sense to a country where they've got, you know, their own manufacturing of goods that you don't want destroyed. Because I mean, Tesla would be destroyed. And I mean,
it
there
would
were
just be
billions.
Tesla. Honestly,
Yeah.
let's be real.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
It would be the entire North American EV industry.
Yeah.
Nobody would buy a North American EV compared. Like I heard that they're only like
Yeah.
$10 or $15,000. I might be wrong, but like
Yeah, I
that's
don't-
cheap for a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think you can get them for that price, but I think the average would probably still be like around 32,000 as far as I know. But
No,
I mean,
I think
still,
it's cheaper. I think like it would be like more like 20.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's
Then
way
that's even.
cheaper.
So I mean but I mean even in the 30s, I mean you're still half the price of the lowest model
Yeah,
Tesla.
so like like Ford's not going to be selling any, and
No.
so then that brings up an interesting point about the EV mandates, because all of the other auto producers have this mandate that a certain percentage of their vehicles have to be EVs.
Mhm.
So that's how Tesla is going to survive being down too, because they only produce 100% EVs. They have all of these extra credits because in the first year you only have to be producing, I believe it's 20%. So they have like an extra 80% of credit. So they sell them to other companies. So if like Ford's like, hey, we're only at 16%, they'll buy the extra credits from Tesla. Tesla makes a lot of money on credits from other countries that have this in place.
It's pretty crazy how that works too. Like how do you sell credits? Whatever.
Well, it's because it's so that it evens out in your country, right? And it sort of makes it fair for the industry to be able to achieve getting a certain amount of electric vehicles on the road in replacement of gas powered ones. Anyways, we're getting way on a side street, man. That's what we do, eh?
Yes.
Yep.
But that's the fun part. That's the fun part.
I think so personally, just to wrap up the trade thing, I think that Carney's going to continue to negotiate. I think he's going to continue to strengthen Canada's position again with the Ukraine thing. I think that being one of the countries that is being one of the biggest supporters monetarily of the war in Ukraine, I think that helps strengthen our position worldwide, and it makes people, want to do business with us more as well. And I think it's smart, again, in an avoidance way. But I think that by the time it gets down to it, I think probably it kind of goes, him and Trump a little bit here, him and Trump a little bit here. And then I think it's just like a little bit of friction. And then when they have to sit down and actually get down to it, which I don't believe is in the near future, I don't think that's going to happen for a while. I think that Canada is going to be in a much stronger position. And I think that Trump, despite all of his bragging about having all of the cards, is going to face a better card player in Carney, who has now stacked the deck and built up a lot more chips and built up a trade market within Canada that is less reliant in this. We don't need you that much. It's much different sitting down at a negotiating table when I need you than it is sitting down going, no, man, I got these other guys. I don't need you so much.
Yeah, and there's a lot of companies like that are going under in the US. Like there's some alcohol companies.
Jim Beam.
Yeah. And also the tourism market is really hurting in the US, as well as a lot of the snowbirds are now coming to Victoria.
Yeah.
And they're not going to Florida and the warmer parts of the US. Although I would
and
go
the
to
Okanagan.
Yeah.
I have family that were snowbirds for Florida. They were going to Florida for years, and now they go to the Okanagan, which isn't the same as Florida, if I'm going to be honest with you. But
No.
it's about as warm as a Canadian option as you're going to get.
In the summer.
No, in the winter.
What? In the Okanagan?
In the winter. The Okanagan does get down to maybe the coldest was -10.
No, sorry, not the Okanagan. What am I talking about? Shuswap. Not Shuswap. A Soyuz. What's wrong with me?
Soyuz and Oliver. Yeah. It's like a Soyuz is Canada's desert. So it doesn't get very cold there. Yeah.
I was like, what?
They both start with an O. Give me a break. Anyways, we only have 20 minutes left. We got other stuff to talk about. Let's go to Minnesota.
Oh
boy.
Now, the reason I want to go to Minnesota, I want to talk about the perception of what's happening, and then I want to talk about what I see happening. So, Rob, what do you see happening?
Oh, obviously. So here's the interesting part is I've seen a lot of, and I forget the guy's name. I don't even want to say his name. But I've seen a lot of clips of him now.
Nick Shirley.
Yeah. From previous. This guy is a wannabe viral guy. Like he wants to be the Charlie Kirk.
Alex Jones.
Or Alex Jones. Like he will be Alex Jones. That's really what's going to end up happening. Honestly, I find it disgusting that once again you have, an individual who is going after
minorities,
and not even just minorities, but children. Like you're going after daycare centers where there are children there, and it's already been shown. When the state of Minnesota went, they already went there, and was it 7 out of 8 were operating as normal, and the 8th one just wasn't open yet. And obviously they're going to go back to that. But I mean,
he's creepy. He's creepy for showing up with cameras. Like, can you imagine having your kids in daycare and then some creepy shirtley dude shows up with a camera? I just got to make sure there's kids in here. It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's creepy. There's other ways to find out.
Yeah, and apparently some of his guys were masked. So how are you going to let them in, especially with what's going on in the States with mass pew-pews?
Yeah,
say that.
Like, come on. The other one was I saw someone where he was at a maternity center or something, and he was like, it said maternity center, or I forget exactly what it was, but on the website it showed sort of holiday hours where they were closed at 2. And he was there after 2 o'clock, and he's like, it's only this time, and they should be open till 4:30. Hello. And he's like pulling on the doors and doing whatever. And there's another person, they actually posted it showing like you're a fool. If you actually just went to their website, you would see they were only open to 2. Oh yeah. You probably already did see that they were only open to 2. And that's why you went there at 2:30 in the afternoon saying, well, they should be open to 4:30. Honestly, I'm just like, the worst part about all of this is when you're hearing reports of Trump supporters, like MAGA people, now going into like daycare centers around the US, demanding to see like what's happening, and like where is this coming from? Like, this is absolute insanity that a government and a country can allow people to just start doing this, and they think that they just have the free will to go into a daycare center and demand to see documentation. Here's the thing is now there's all these new regulations as far as daycare centers. Everyone's now got to jump through all these hoops, and they've got to prove and that's fine. Maybe they are going to catch some fraud. I mean, it's potential. I mean, there's fraud everywhere. And I mean, let's just talk about the president himself.
Okay, hold on.
If we're talking fraudsters, I mean, if there's a fraudster that knows a fraudster, he's the fraudster. And he knows fraudsters.
Let me pause, because in Minnesota, there is a lot of fraud. So I'm going to tell you, they keep talking about, oh, look at how many people have already been arrested. The reason they've already been arrested is because like they were arrested in 2022. Like, this isn't new, man.
Under Biden.
Most of the people were arrested already. They're going through trial right now. So, and they keep talking about, well, the Somalians, that's all the Somalians fraud, and bringing a lot of negativity towards the Somalians. And there were a lot of Somalians who were part of this fraud. And the fraud accounted for something like $250 million of government money that was supposed to be going towards feeding people. And what they're not talking about is the white lady who was the so-called mastermind behind this whole project.
Right.
Her name is Amy Bach. She was arrested in 2022. She was found guilty on all 20 counts that she was charged with. And she was ordered to pay $5 million back, which I think is kind of small, but whatever. And right now, I believe she's still being held in remand, and they haven't talked about her sentencing yet. Now, along with her was her boyfriend or her partner at the time, who's also found guilty. He claims that he didn't know about it. And I don't know if he's Somalian or not, but he's a black guy. So that's pushing the narrative of the Somalian fraud. And nobody's talking about the lady whose idea
the ringleader. The white lady.
Nobody's talking about the white lady ringleader.
She was the one who did it all. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this other guy, Salim Saeed, I believe his name is, he has also been found guilty. He claimed that he didn't know, which I'm going to call bullshit, Salim. Here's the thing. If it's because he was a restaurant owner, the restaurant that was being billed as giving out all of these meals that were never actually given out, but was receiving money for it. If you're receiving money for meals and you don't know how many meals you're receiving money for, and you don't know how many meals are going out in your own restaurant, I call bullshit. Come on. Especially when it was grossly overstated in order to get all that money. Anyways, like I said, this is not new. The reason that the reports say people have already been arrested is because they were arrested like 3.5 years ago. Most of them have been to trial, including, like I said, Amy Bach, who was the mastermind.
All under Biden. And the other thing is if you're a Christian nationalist and you want to control women, what is the number one thing that you could shut down that would stop a lot of women from going to the workforce? Right? Daycare centers.
Yeah.
I
didn't think about that. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
What I thought of at first, when you're just flooded with, Somalians are doing bad stuff. I thought about the Haitians are eating cats and dogs.
Yeah.
So even though it's now been like, now, I think CBS did a thing debunking Nick Shirley's video of what he was trying to expose and who was actually still in business and whatnot. The seed has been planted, and I see a lot of people talking about how Nick Shirley's going to face really big defamation claims, and he probably is. And you know what? I'm going to bet that it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter, because the people who are benefiting from Nick Shirley's actions just want seeds planted, and they want a whole bunch of Americans to have negative feelings towards a certain community, in this case Somalians, just like they wanted the seed planted about negative feelings towards Haitians.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And controlling women on top of that.
And controlling women. I think that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that, about the daycare. Yeah, but there was fraud. Like they did find fraud, which they were dealing with since the Biden administration. But now Trump's guys. Now we're going to get to part two of what Rob said before I made him pause. And when he's like, let's talk about Trump and how much he doesn't care about fraud. This guy has 34 felony convictions for fraud. He had to pay $25 million for his bullshit university. But just look at who he has pardoned. Go look up. I don't even have all of the names. It just goes name after name after name after name after name. I have a couple names. There's one, Philip S. Formes. He built the Medicare system for $1.3 billion. He was bribing doctors. He owned a bunch of nursing homes, and he was bribing doctors to to prescribe patients to those homes to make fake Medicare to the tune of $1.3 billion. And he was sentenced to 20 years. And he got a pardon from the Trump guy who doesn't want to, if you were going to do fraud, or you're going to be handcuffed. There was another one, Milton, I believe. There was another lady. There was a lady, I don't know what her name was, but she got caught. She was in charge of a bunch of money that was intended to go towards honoring fallen police officers, and she used it for cosmetic surgery for herself. She got a pardon. We care so much about fraud, my ass.
What about the crypto guy? That crypto guy?
All the crypto guys. There's more than one, but yeah.
No, there was that
yeah.
one big one that ended up going into business or ended up helping. Was it Barron Trump? Like,
yeah.
There was some like craziness where all of it.
Yeah. They
don't
don't tell me that they care about fraud. I mean, this is the same administration.
No, they care about fraud. They care about fraud, except for when it benefits them. When it benefits them, it's okay. But if you're going to commit fraud and I don't know about it and I'm not getting a cut on it, you're in trouble.
No, I don't even think they care. I really don't. I think that they say they care because they know that other people care. I think that when they know that when people feel an injustice and they feel, justified in hating this certain group of people because, well, they're in the wrong. They're cheating, right? I think it's intentional. And we saw the same thing when Elon was jumping all around stage with a damn chainsaw, talking about all the fraud that he's going to cut down all these because they're finding so much fraud. And do you remember at the time all the Trump cheerleaders talking about how all those people were going to be sent to jail for the fraud? There hasn't been a single person, not a single person who has been charged with fraud from the Doge that the Doge isn't even talked about anymore.
No, they just cut everyone's jobs. That was it. See you
and
later.
Got everybody's data.
Yeah. Honestly, it's hilarious. I mean, it is a movie like playing out in front of us that you're literally watching and going, I can't believe this is, this is the movie.
That's intentional
and
too,
you're like,
Rob.
no, it's real though. It's real. Like we're not in a movie. This is real. I think
it's intentional that it's made to feel like a movie. Like when you look at Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, and some of these people that are in his administration, it's like they're dressed up playing the parts of these really important positions, but they're not really, right? And they're ridiculous. And when they get up to testify, they're ridiculous. And it gives this feeling of surrealism, like this can't be real. I feel like I'm in a movie. I feel, and I think that's very intentional too. With when you look at all the AI that they put out, it's made to feel like you're in some action movie, like you're the hero. Because when you make people feel like heroes, they don't feel like they have to be accountable for their shitty actions against other humans.
Honestly, I think it's like watching The Office, where it is just so comical, but it's sort of depicting real life, or an office and whatever. But it's so ridiculous that you're like, oh my God. But I mean, that's who these characters are. I mean, Kash Patel. I mean, oh my God, I can't even look at that guy. I mean, Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem.
Pete Hegseth. As we're talking about characters,
Caroline Levitt. I mean,
playing a character. He is. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Actually, maybe he's part of Tropic Thunder, and some of the other one are part of The Office.
Playing a part. They're all playing parts. Scott Bessent, the soybean farmer.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy too. I'm just saying.
And some of them are in the Epstein files.
This is
the Epstein files.
This is just the new Apprentice. I mean, we're all going to wake up one day and they're going to be like, ha ha, fooled you. This was all just one big kind of funny sitcom. And okay, now you can elect a real president. We did what we wanted to do because it was fun.
Well, I think everybody is looking forward to what happens in November. I would be surprised if there wasn't, if the Democrats really do as we predict they will, I think Team Trump already has some sort of mechanism of calling fraud or calling bullshit or overturning those. They're not
working on mail order. They're working on the mail-in votes are fraudulent. Mail-in votes don't count. They're working on that right now.
And then I'm sure they're going to shut down the amount of polling stations in blue ridings, like where there's a lot of like blue,
I think
voters.
they'll have national. I think my prediction. We're going to see if this is true. I think he's going to have National Guard outside the polling stations.
I think you're right. I think there's going to be a lot of
intimidation. He's going to have ice.
I think you're right.
They're going to have ice.
Be armed.
They're going to have ice everywhere.
Yeah,
they're going to have National Guard everywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, especially ice. And anyone of color, ICE is going to stop and they're going to detain, and they're going to be like trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
Oh man, if that happens, like,
I can see that happening.
Like,
yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, I guess we can imagine. We are imagining it, and unfortunately, I think there's going to be something to this.
But in Canada, unless you're a Canadian citizen, you can't vote. Right? You have to be a Canadian citizen. So I mean, my dad.
But there's fraud. There's fraud. There's non-American citizens voting for the Democrats. They got to stop that. That's the fraud. They're going to stop it. That's it.
Okay, wait a second. This wasn't on the list, but I'm going to ask you. Do you think Canada would see an election next year? I know that we're all going to be watching what happens with the midterms in the States, but do you think it's possible that Carney loses a non-confidence vote sometime next year? I believe that there will be confidence votes that come out.
I think you're right. He's going to have a majority. I think somebody else is going to cross over. I think he's going to get a majority.
Somebody's going to cross over,
and then we're going to and then we're not even going to have proper what is Pierre Poilievre's opposition? Yeah, we're not going to even have a proper opposition because they don't care about anything other than the the issues that are not what people are worried about right now. Right? They're more worried about the smaller things, the things that people aren't really worried about.
They're worried about their slogans and rhetoric.
It's not the Conservative Party that I used to know. It's gone far right. It's like too far right now, and so people who say they're conservatives, but yet they're spewing this right-wing BS, they're not conservatives, right? They are not conservatives. I have friends who are conservatives, and they don't act this way. Like it's not the same.
I got to tell you,
it's 100% not the same.
I saw Aaron O'Toole. He put out a Substack talking. He said he gave some advice to the Conservative Party, talking about how you got to do something to be able to win. But he said that he's on record as saying that he thinks that they should keep Pierre Poilievre. And I thought, oh, Mr. O'Toole, how I disagree with you.
Mr. O'Toole is a tool. That's what he is. Here's the funny thing is, I think we talked about this on one of your lives, where I mentioned that if they turn around and they say, Pierre Poilievre, you're still going to be the leader after his meeting, and they sort of announce that, I honestly, and I'm not going to put bets on it or anything, but if I was a rich man, I would bet a lot of money that as soon as that happens, there will be floor crossers, because they're going to be like, I was waiting to see if you guys are going to make the right choice in dumping him and getting a new leader. And the fact that you're hanging on to this guy with his rhetorics and his slogans and his ridiculous answers to questions when they're not scripted for him. Like, if he cannot answer an unscripted question that he doesn't have an answer for, all he does is he reverts back to his slogans again and starts completely changing the subject on whatever the questions are. It's like, what are we watching here? This is so baffling to me that you have the leader of the opposition who can't answer a damn question, and turning around and just start spewing slogans again. That has nothing related to the question at all. I'm like, what is happening here? And they affordability. we're not even talking about that, Mr. Polyev. We were talking about something completely different. Yeah, but it's all about affordability. What do you mean? What's affordability got to do with what we're talking about?
It's to do with his little sound bites that are gonna grab on to
Oh,
to the
yeah,
attention. So I think something else about the floor crossers. I think that if there are more floor crossers, I agree it'll be after the leadership review.
yeah,
I think that from a liberal point of view, I think that would be a better strategy. I think if I was Carney and let's say I have another guy who's gonna cross the floor, I'd be like, hang on, wait
yeah,
till after the leadership review, because then they're stuck with them, right? Then
yeah,
there's because if you
100%.
cross before then the conservatives might go, shit, look at this, that's the third floor crosser plus the guy that quit, is this our guy? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think no, I
they'll
think
be
let him
stuck
go
with
into
him.
his review and let him pass it and then leave. Then they're stuck with him. You're in the majority. And then you don't have a lot standing in your way. You don't have to worry about the confidence votes.
Yeah, and I mean that's the funny thing is, and the only reason why I say all this is if I was in a position where I'm part of this party and my leader is a buffoon, and what better way of sticking it to someone than it is when they get the confidence vote of, yeah, you're still going to be our leader, and go, I was sticking around because I thought we're going to do something different, but if we're going to go with the same buffoon, I'm moving on. Like, I'm going to go over here because I'm not I'm not going to be with this guy anymore.
Okay, but wait a second. Do you think any of them would voice that to the party ahead of time? Like, hey, just so you know, if we're keeping this guy, I'm dipping. Or do you
Who
think
knows at
that
this
would be
point?
career suicide for them?
It's funny because I think before we had the same conversation, and I had sort of said I could see them going in the background saying, "Look, man, you can't put this guy back as leader, otherwise, like I'm out of here." But the funny thing is, I think I've changed my mind because I think at the end of the day, if they said that to someone and it got to the wrong person, that person's life is over. Like before, they're going to drag them through the mud before they even cross over. So
Yeah.
that when they do cross over, they're like, well, they only crossed over because he was a horrible, horrible person. And you could see it. So they're going to keep their mouth shut and they're going to wait and they're going to wait it all out and they're going to just sit in silence. And then when it all happens, go,
Yeah, I
and
think
at
you're
least
right.
that's my hope. That is my hope, though. I mean, that's
Well,
it
we'll
makes
see. You
sense
know
to
what?
me.
We should keep this clip and then like February 1st revisit it, because I think that when if we see stuff, I think it'll be early February. I think the leadership review's on the 29th, I believe.
Yeah. And it- and if
Um
and if for whatever reason no one crosses over, then you can just delete it. It's fine.
yeah, that's right. Then we
We'll
just
just
don't do
move
it. We
on.
just pretend that we don't say it, or
What are
we
you talking
pretend
about,
Polly said it and we go, what was she talking
Ollie?
about?
What craziness?
All right.
I'm kidding. I'll stick by it, even if it doesn't happen. It should.
We could pretend we're psychic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have people come
Yeah.
in. We see
All
in the
right.
other realm.
Well, I think that's it for today. I know we didn't get to everything, but that's because we took a couple side streets. But I think I had a pretty good time for our very first show back in the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
good.
I hope this
And I
time
hope
is
that
okay for everybody.
I hope everybody likes the new time. Like I said, we're trying to grow the show. We're trying to get a bigger audience, and we figure that, sorry if it's interrupting your dinner, but we hope that 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern can get more people involved in watching us just trade opinions about what's happening. If there's anything that you want us to talk about, make sure that you leave a comment on our TikTok or our YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube, and please make sure to tell other people about our YouTube so that hopefully we can get to our goal of 500 followers soon.
And the other thing is, it's okay to have dinner and watch us.
That's true.
Yeah, dinner and a show. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Yeah, perfect.
Exactly.
All right. So that is every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So we will see you on Tuesday. We will get to British Columbia politics too, because we're going to need an update on the Conservative Party by then. But there's also, we have no idea what happens between now and Tuesday, but there's always so much to talk about. So we will see everybody next Tuesday, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. Subscribe to our YouTube, hit the like button, tell your friends.
Yes, please.
And thank you for the gifts. Thank you, Joe Bean, Montreal, and Nat, Grandma T, Nat, Grandma T. Thank you all for the gifts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you Tuesday.
Bye,
See you Tuesday.
everyone.
Bye.